Hey, it's Mustafa, and in today's video I'm going to be going over exactly how we added an extra 240k a year to this business's revenue, right? And not only that, right, I'm also going to be going over exactly how we increase their profit margins, as within ecom, right? I know it's a big issue that, people have low profit margins, so that's actually one of our main goals, which I get into. What I say is one of my main aims, or etc., is to actually fix the profit margin problem that e-commerce stores have. So yeah, and without further ado, let me go straight over to my laptop. So here's how we added an extra 240k a year to this business's revenue, right? Now what I'm gonna be going over in this video is the results. So I'm gonna show you the results. I'm gonna show you their story, so their current situation, well, back then, right? And before they came to us, basically, how we did it, so how we actually added an extra 240k a year to their business, and how any other brand, so you can do it as well, right? So let's just get right into it. So the results are here. So they were at 1k, as you can see right here. A month, that is, so April 1st till April 30th, and that's them after a couple months, right? They're at 22k a month, and you can also see everything else. And the craziest part is, which I will get into obviously, but look at the traffic. So the traffic went from 6k to 18k, so that's 3 times the traffic only, right? But that's nearly 20 times the revenue, as you can see. So I'm gonna show you exactly how I did that. And this is just a graph, as you can see. So that was April, which is this one right here, and that's October, November, there you go, and that's that. So as you can see, bang, and a big jump. So you can see the increase in revenue basically right there. Now this is a note for anyone watching this, going from 0, right, we can put pounds right there, going from 0 to 22k a month is a lot harder than going from, let's say, 20k a month to 40k a month. So if you're actually an already established brand that's making a good amount already, the strategies I'll be showing you over in this video will be even more useful for you, because you probably scale a lot more than 20k. Sorry, you will be able to scale more than like 20k, right? So obviously these guys have added 22k to their business. You can easily add 30, 40, etc., because you already have the foundations built out. So yeah, so everything in this video would be even more useful for you. And if you're just starting a brand, also don't skip the video, because as you can see, it will be useful for you as well. Now, their story, right? They weren't necessarily at 0, right? I'll explain exactly what I mean here. They had some initial success, but it wasn't very long lasting, and they struggled to ever get past 10k a month mark. I think the highest they had was 8, 9, something like that, and it just went downhill. And that's because the issue is you can have like seasonal products and stuff like that. So you can do well, but it can just be luck kind of thing, or just a season kind of thing. But obviously if you have a business, you want it to be doing well all year round, not just like a month or two. So that's kind of the issue they had, right? And they also, on top of that, had a profitability issue, as even the very little success that they were getting was costing them a lot to get, if that makes sense. So just think of it as, let's say they made 8k, right? But they had to spend around 7k to make that 8k. So was it even really worth it? Who knows, right? Spent 7k to make 8k. And this is actually a very common issue within the e-com space, and it's actually one of the main reasons I do what I do, because I don't think it's fair at all that business owners are making 6, 7, 8 figures a year, and they're only getting to take home less than 10 or 20% of that, right? And if you even do a quick Google search, right, you can see that the average net profit margin, which is the take home, right, so it's after everything has been taken away, for e-commerce brands is about 10%, which isn't very high. So let's just say you're making $1 million, right? As a brand, you're taking home 100 grand, which obviously is a lot of money, but in comparison, it's not, right? So you don't want to, be putting in all that work, getting to, a 7-figure brand, 8-figure brand, etc., and that's your profit, right? Like, to get to that, it's a lot of work and a lot of, time, etc. So you don't want to be taking home just 10% of that, if that makes sense. So one of our main goals is not only to increase the revenue for our clients, right, that we work with, but it's to also increase their margins, right, so their profit margins as well. And again, later on in this video, you'll see exactly how we done that, or do that, and how we did it for this brand, I should say. So here's the how, right? We're finally getting into good stuff. So we're going to go over every single little detail. That should say 4. We're going to go over every single little detail, and so it would be broken up into 4 bits. I just thought that'd be easier to go over if we just categorize it like this. And as you can see, so initially we're going to be going over the website, and then the organic, and then the ads, and the emails. Emails is kind of a small part of this, but it's also useful. So let's just get straight into it, right? So website, Now the first thing, I always talk about this by the way, but firstly went ahead and improved their conversion rate, which is what CRO is, right? CRO stands for conversion rate optimization. And we did this by doing research on their website and running a few A/B tests. And if you actually go back to the results, right, with only 3 times the traffic, right, from before, so they went from 6,000 to 18,000 in traffic, we were making them 20 times more revenue, right? So if I scroll back up to the results, as you can see, so 6,000 traffic online store sessions, and they were making 1K, 18,000, which is 3 times 6,000, and now they're making 22K, which is almost 20 times the revenue. So how do we do this, right? How do we, it's only 3 times the traffic, but you're making 20 times the revenue, right? Theoretically, this should be about 3.6K, because you have 3 times the traffic, and you know, you should be making 3 times revenue, right? Like if you do it mathematically. But I'll show you exactly how we did it, right? As you can see, these numbers here, these, that, and that's the key. As you can see, 1.28 to 3.8, 21 to 31, right? And that's what we're going to be going over right now. So if we go here, right? So one of the main reasons we were able to do that was because we got our conversion rate, which is what I've shown you, from 1.28% to 3.2%, which means that we're converting almost 3 times more people than before, right? So if you go back up right here, so the 1.28% conversion rate to 3.8, right? Got a lot more people converting. Look at this. So if you actually zoom in a bit, it's kind of hard to see, but you got 77 sessions converted right here, and here you got 704. So that's 10 times more people converting, which is crazy if you think about it. But let's scroll back down, and yeah, right here. So basically how conversion rate works is if you have 100 people come onto a site, before we would only get 1 customer in a bit, because it's 1.28% to buy from us, right? Now out of 100 we were getting 3 customers in a bit, because it's 3.2% to buy from us, which is a huge improvement. And that's what actually skyrocketed their profit margins, as what this means is their customer acquisition has effectively been cut by 3 times, right? If you think about it. So if it cost them £9 to get a customer before, now it's more like £3, right? Or if you work with dollars or whatever currency, but you get the point, right? Because if this went from 1 to 3%, so just to explain this better, right? If you have 100 people, right, to come onto your site, and it costs you £9 to get 100 people to come onto your store, and one of those people convert, that basically means, and let's say that happens all the time, right? So if you get 200 people, that would cost you £18, and then you get 2 people to convert. So per conversion costs you £9. Now if you get 3 per 100, it still costs you £9 to get 100 people onto your store, but you're getting 3 conversions, which means that now it's costing you £3 to acquire a customer, if that makes sense, right? But yeah, you probably get the point. Now I just want you to think about this, right? Imagine what your profit margins would look like, right, if you were to cut your customer acquisition costs by 3x, right? And that's just by making a few changes to your website. So this is only the first point, right? So this is literally just the first point we're going through throughout this whole, sheet, right? So this combined with everything else that I'm about to tell you within this document, you'll see exactly how much better not only your revenue can be, right, but your margins as well, after you implement all these strategies that I'm about to go over. So yeah, let's just go straight on to how we did CRO for them, right, or how we just do it in general, to be honest. So firstly, we do research using things like heat maps, post-purchase surveys, and looking at the analytics and drop-off points, stuff like that. You can use Google Analytics, you can use Shopify Analytics for more basic sort of stuff. Like you can just see if people added to cart, how many people reached checkout, how many people actually checked out, and you can see maybe if there's a drop-off point there. But I'd suggest going on to Google Analytics. You can see a lot more in-depth information there. Post-purchase surveys, actually, let me just go over these one by one, right? Heat maps, you basically be able to see where people are scrolling to, where people are clicking, etc., where people click and then stop scrolling, etc. You can just see a lot of stuff in them. Heat maps, you can download apps on Shopify. I know there's one called Lucky Orange. I spelled that completely wrong, but Lucky Orange, that's a good one if you want to use that one. But yeah, pretty sure Google Analytics has their own one, and there's a lot of software that can do that. So yeah, any of them work. Post-purchase surveys, which basically just ask them questions why they bought from us over competitors, and once you get these answers, that's just an example. You can obviously ask them a lot of stuff, but an example would be, why did you buy from us over competitors? And if you get something that's really common that everyone's saying, is that you can really hone in on that. You understand that your customers really value this thing, and that's why they bought from you. So you might as well do more of it, right? More of what's working. So that can be powerful for that sort of stuff. That's why you take a look at that. We actually go into businesses and implement that, because most of the time they don't have surveys already set. So we do that. So yeah, this research phase does last between 1 to 2 weeks. So yeah, that's where we collect information. And lastly, obviously, I said this isn't just limited to these are just some examples of what we do when we do research. But yeah, so we look at analytics for drop-off points. I explained that earlier. But yeah, next we come up with a hypothesis as to why people are dropping off at certain points, right? And based off that hypothesis, we come up with a few changes that we believe could fix the problem, right? That they haven't. We also rank which change we're going to test first by using this spreadsheet template, this, right? Let's go. I'll show you. So basically you put them here. So you just go number 1, 2, whatever, how many changes you have in mind. Fill all these in, right? Be as honest as possible. Quite long actually, and at the end you'll get a final score. How you get a score, or how we get a score, is just go through this. It'll tell you how much to score each thing after you answered everything here. And yeah, based on that you rank it. And the reason we do this is which one is the, basically to give you the gist of it, which one's the easiest to implement, which one will move the needle the most, etc. And you want to test the easiest to implement and the one that moves the needle the most, just to put into basic terms. You want to test that first, right? So you basically rank it, and after basically you can just go here, press this, and you can go sort A to Z, and based on the score it'll sort it, and then you'll know which one to test first, etc., just to make it a bit easier for you. But yeah, I will be linking this document down in the description of this video, so you'll get access to this entire this worksheet, document, whatever, and the spreadsheet or anything else within this. Next, we A/B test the ideas that we have on the spreadsheet, and we use softwares like VWO, which is the main one that we use. Let me just get rid of this. You can actually probably see it right up here, right there. So it's there, and based on the results that we get, right, if it's successful or not, we note that down and write some learnings, what we learn about it, and base our next tests, or not base our next test off what the results are, right? So if we, I'll give you an example of this. If we had a hypothesis that people don't buy because they don't trust the website enough, let's say we added a lock icon on our checkout button and more people were converting. Now what we can do is, based off that, we learned that our customers aren't buying, or people aren't buying because they don't trust us. So then we might add payment icons below the buy button, etc., just to give them more trust. That's what I mean when I say we write down the learnings. So it was successful. Okay, so our hypothesis is correct, right? Let's do more things that are in line with what we just done. So as I said with the trust example, if you find out that that is actually the issue, then you'll go ahead and do more things that will give your customers more trust to buy from you, right? Yeah, so it's basically just learn about your customers. And after that, you just repeat. It's literally that simple. And yeah, there's not much more to say about that. Next is the average order value. Now, on top of the conversion rate, another reason we were able to make 20 times more revenue with only 3 times more traffic was because we added around 50% onto our average order value and took it from £21 to £31, which means that on average, people are spending £31. They used to spend 21, now they're spending 31. And you can see why this combined with a higher conversion rate, it just leads to crazy numbers. That's why they got like a 20x, 20 times more revenue, right? So what this means is, right, not only did we have 3 times more people coming onto our store and then buying from us, but all of those people that are now buying from us were also spending 50% more on our store, right? So all of this just end up compounding, right? Which is what eventually got us to be able to 20x their revenue, as I was saying. So if I go back up here, which is what I was showing you earlier, right? So not only forget the conversion rate now we're looking here, right? Again, probably too small. You can zoom in on YouTube there, so it should be good. As you can see, average order value 21, and now they're spending 31.71, right? So it's about nearly a 50% increase in average order value, which is pretty good. And yeah, as I said, it just compounds. Once you have a higher conversion rate, right, a 3 times higher conversion rate, and a 50% more, increase in average order value. So 3 times more people convert, and they spend 50% more. That's how you get to these crazy numbers, right? 20x increase in revenue, or adding 20k to your business. And this is what I mean when I say, if you already have the foundation set up and you are already established, let's say business, right? This will be even more effective for you. You have all the foundations laid out, and now you're just going to improve your conversion rate and increase your average order value by applying these strategies, and you're good to go. So now we're just going to go over how we actually increase the average order value, which is probably what you're wondering, right? So firstly, pricing strategies. An example, this is a decoy effect, right? Where the cheapest and middle option is close, price-wise to the most expensive option, making it seem like the most expensive option is the best value for money out of the 3 options. Next, we have bundles. These are quite self-explanatory, obviously. If you do have any questions about anything in this video or anything in this document, just leave it down in the comments below. I do answer all of them. So yeah. And next is bundles, offering bundles at a discount and making sure, this is the key, right? You need to make sure that people can actually visually see the comparison of price between them just buying one of this item or buying the bundle, and see how much they're actually saving per item, right? That's the key when it comes to bundles, which is what a lot of people miss out, and that's why like they mess up the bundle thing, because if people can't have a visual comparison, right? Like, okay, if I buy one, it's £10, but if I buy this 3-pack, each one comes out to £7.50. If they can't visually make that comparison, then they're just not going to go for the bundle. So make sure to keep that in mind. Pre-selected most popular options, right? As soon as people landed onto a product page, it would already be pre-selected onto the middle option, not the lowest option. So that way it just led to more people just going with that option, right? People just like easiness, right? So if you make them buying a more expensive thing easier, then they're just going to do that. So that's another one. Slide cart upsells. So we upsold them in our slide cart, which if you don't know what that is, because I know some brands don't have this, but I would highly recommend it. It will literally just look like that, right? I mean, it'd be better on mobile, but just like that, just a slide that comes up. The reason I do this is just for user experience. We highly recommend it, not just taking them to an entire new page, because what they can do is, right, they just press here on the screen and they can continue shopping, right? They don't have to go back onto the page, etc. to continue shopping, and you want people to spend more, so have a slide cart basically. And lastly, post-purchase upsells. So after someone has just bought from us, whilst it's still within a buying mind frame, right, we take advantage of that and offer them an upsell with a discount for a limited time and see if they buy it, right? And they do, right? because they have just bought from you, right? They already trust you enough, etc. They're still within that buying mind frame. If you just give them, you know, an upsell with scarcity involved, trust me, the chance of them buying is really high. So you might as well. Now, next, so we just move on from the website now. Next is the organic, right? This step is quite self-explanatory, but before we went ahead and put money behind content and run it as ad, right, we would actually have them post the content on their social media pages and let the algorithm pick the winners for us for completely free, so you don't have to waste money on it, right? Which obviously would help with profitability, which is one of my main goals, as I said. And obviously if you have an e-commerce brand, it's probably your goal as well. So I still feel like including this step here, as this video is going into every single little detail, so I want to fulfill on that promise and even go into the organic stuff, right? And also because I still see a lot of brands that still don't take advantage of the fact that they can just post organically and test their creatives for free, right? And they don't. So this point still needs to be mentioned, right? Something we've also found is that if you feel like you can't post your video, right? So the video you're about to run for an ad, you're like, yeah, but if I post it organically, it's not really going to do well, so I don't want to post it. Then that's a very good sign as to why your ads might not be performing as well as you want them to. And it's because, right, when you run ads, it has to be like an organic style video, not an ad style video. As you have to remember that your ads are still going to be popping up on people's feed, right? So if they're scrolling, whatever, it's still going to be popping up as if it's like any other video, right? So all the same rules that apply to organic content are still going to apply to your normal, like your ads, right? If that makes sense. I need to actually get rid of that, right? So all the rules about, you know, getting and keeping people's attention, etc., stopping them from scrolling, they still apply to your ad creatives. So as a rule of thumb, if you don't feel comfortable posting the video because you think it will do bad on social media, you more than likely shouldn't be running it as an ad, right? Just as a rule of thumb. There's obviously rare scenarios where that's not the case, but as I said, just a rule of thumb. Now going on to the ads, now the ads actually weren't terrible. I'm not going to lie, the ads weren't terrible, especially the videos. Now the copy was a bit questionable, but the videos were actually pretty good. However, what wasn't was the copy, as I said, but we came up with a few different angles to test with copy. So for example, money saving copy versus buy it as a gift copy, right? So buy it as a gift for a loved one, and then had the creative match the copy. So, and we still had them record the creative within the same style that they were doing before. But if we're doing, let's say, saving money, like the video would actually be talking about that, because you kind of want there to be confluence, right? You don't want the ad creative to be sending a completely different message and then the copy send a completely different message, because that's going to ruin things. And actually, whilst I'm on that point, same for your website. You don't want your website to have like a completely different feel, messaging, etc. to your ads, right? Just keep that in mind when you're doing this. And we usually do test at least about 3 to 5, I'd say 5 at least. I'm not gonna lie, if you want, you know, the best results as fast as possible, 5 different angles. And as expected, one of them was a clear winner, right? So we had a home run, and that's why I test, right? When it comes to running ads, it's just about testing, and then you get home runs and then scale that, right? So you pause the rest of the ads and scale the ad up like crazy, And we still continue to set aside a campaign and a budget for testing, because we're always trying to just improve as much as we can and get even better home runs, right? So never get too complacent, never have a winning ad, right? Winning message, etc. None of that. And be like, okay, this is it, and just don't test again. You need to continue to test. Remember, running ads is just testing things. There's no one size fits all when it comes to ad strategies. So one thing that works for one company doesn't work for another, which is why I don't personally give like ad strategies like, oh look, you need to run an ad like this campaign structure, etc., which is what a lot of YouTube videos do. And the reason I don't is because it's different for everyone, and the only way, like from experience, the only way to actually find out what works for a specific company is by just testing, right? And having good strategies and protocols in place in order to actually make effective tests, you know, things that will move the needle the most. Just like when it comes to conversion rate, when we had that spreadsheet, you want to, you know, test things that actually matter, not just small things as that. We test the most important things first and then go down the list, obviously. But yeah, that's why there's not really one size fits all when it comes to ad strategies. So I'd go as far as say all those videos on YouTube about ad strategies are complete bullshit. But yeah. Now you're probably wondering, when it comes to copywriting for ads, I know when I started this, right, this is one of the things that really was just getting to me, and I was like, okay, how do I do this? But obviously after experience, etc., working with a few companies, when it comes to copywriting for ads, here's some of the frameworks we use, not all, right? Here's some, right, that you can steal. So first we have should I just pronounce them like that? I guess so. Let's go ADA, right, which is attention, interest, desire, action. So that'll be the framework that you sort it out in, so your copy. Next one is PASS, which is problem, agitate, and solve the problem, right? And then after that we got FAB, which is features, advantages, benefits. Now when it comes to this, right, this is a mistake that I see so many companies making. When I say benefits, right, I'm not saying go ahead and list, oh look, it's made out of like 95%, you know, cotton, or not benefits like that, because no one really cares. Like, who cares if it's made out of cotton or not? What we need to do is it has to be like more dreamy and over-exaggerated benefits, right? So something like, let's say you have like a toothpaste, right? You'll be like, all the compliments that you're gonna get, something like that, something along those lines. That's sort of benefits. Something that's more intangible, not tangible. No one really cares about tangible stuff, right? You need to put them in a dreamy world, and you know, those sort of benefits. I hope that makes sense to you. But yeah, and the last one we have here is BAB, right? So before, after, and then bridge that gap at the end, right? With your product, obviously. Now the key here is, because your website now has a higher conversion rate, your ads will just be performing better, right? So as more of the traffic you get from these ads will be converting. So that's the thing, right? I think I've actually put these in order, right, of what you should focus on first. Just thought I'd mention that now. Probably should have mentioned that earlier, but website, once you fix the website, higher conversion rate, higher average order value, it makes everything down here better. Right? Everything organic, right? Because obviously you're going to be getting traffic from organic too, right? And you put time and effort into organic. Your ads will be better, right? Because more of the traffic that your ads get you will be converting, and they'll be spending more as well. So this is all in order. Focus on your website, then focus on organic, and then do ads, right? Now, as I said, we also do have a little section on emails here. Why is this actually so far? Hold on. There you go. All right. Now, we would regularly send out email campaigns and also have flow set up in Klaviyo, right? Which would trigger based on certain actions that a customer takes. All right, just had to drink a little bit of water. Talking for this long does make your throat a bit dry, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so we also had email capture pop-up offering people a % off if they enter their email. And this was not only to just incentivize them to buy, because obviously now they got a discount, so they want to buy more because, you know, they got whatever % off. But it also gives you their email, which you can use to send promotional emails, of course, which is the most obvious one. They enter your email flows, so things down here, which I'll talk about just now. I'll talk about in a minute. And you can use it to target your email list with ads, which I'm actually surprised not a lot of people know this, but if you go onto your ad platform, you can actually upload your customer list onto the ad platform and they'll match it with their database, and you can actually target people just like your already existing customers, which is really powerful. And yeah, if you didn't know, now you know, but make sure to look into that. That's one thing I'd actually highly recommend. Now, the main flows we usually use are the welcome series, the abandoned cart series, the abandoned checkout series, and the post-purchase series, right? Now that is everything, right, in this document that I want to go over. And that pretty much covers everything we did to actually scale this company. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. But the last part of this is how you can do it, right? With all these step-by-step explanations I just gave within this document, this video, whatever you want to call it, you can actually go ahead take action, and through trial and error, you eventually will be able to scale your brand, right? You know, with crazy numbers, etc. And skyrocket your profit margins as well, which, as I explained multiple times within this video, that's one of my main goals. I want to help, like, even if you're not necessarily a client, I just want to help e-commerce brands unlock their, you know, high profit margins, etc. I think it's deserved, like, they deserve it, right? Because if you scale a brand to, you know, 6, 7, 8 figures, as I said, and you don't want to just be taking home 10% of that. You want to be taking home, or even 20. You want to be taking home 30, 40, 50. We have actually had that, right? Actually, our average profit margin for our clients is anywhere from 30 to 50%, which is obviously above average, as I showed you up here, right? But yeah, so through trial and error, with everything in this document, you can scale your brand, right? And as I said, this document will be linked below this video, so you can access it there and make a copy of it so you don't lose it, etc. I would actually suggest you do that. Or your other option is, me and my team are always here to help, right? We are a pretty lean team, so we are quite selective with who we actually work with. But if you have an e-commerce brand that makes 6 to 8 figures a year, and you're looking to not only scale your revenue, but your profit margins as well, go ahead and book a demo call with us. Feel free not to as well. Don't mind. But yeah, so you can just use this link below here, or there'll be a link below in the video as well. And yeah, we'll see if we're a right fit for each other.